Hello everyone, this is Ivan. So for this video, we will actually go through a test case on how to convert it to a test scenario and finally to gherkins. So I actually have one task, assigned task. So if we actually go to this site, my Git repository. So they want the test career page to be tested, the filter, which is in here. So basically they will want to actually test this, the filter. So there are two user stories. So take note of the acceptance criteria for the two user stories. So the first one generally is to make sure that the careers actually exist in here and you are able to click into it and you are able to see this table, right, and this filter. Okay, so the second one is generally that you are able to input into the filter page different character, alphanumeric, but special character will be ignored. There's also a location filter, so you can actually select location. So that means that, for example, in here, if I select software engineer and I press enter, it will refresh and give me all the result in software engineer. So if I just put it as empty, yeah, it'll just refresh back and comes up. Approximately at this moment of time is around 80 rows. And of course, you will ignore special character, for example, this. Alright, you notice that this is a bug, it should actually ignore, but it did not. So if I add something like this, right, you see, there's this page. So if I should also ignore this, but it did not. Right, it's not clear, neither is it ignore. So this is a defect. Beside that, we are also going to automate this location. Right. So let's say if I select this test analysis, let's choose the first one, and I click on this, it should pop up the detailed job description. So go through the first README in detail, and then you'll understand the acceptance criteria for the two user stories. So on this page, click on the dot and you see these documents. So let's open the docs, the Excel especially. Okay, so if you remember the two user acceptance criteria, so the first one is that the first scenario is that I'll go to this site, the landing page is open, then I make sure the career is in the top menu, right? It's in the top menu, and I'll click on the career menu, and I'll input a job in the filter as software engineers. So that will actually pass. I did a manual testing, and this is the acceptance criteria. The second one is that first to change the location to Singapore, and the location should be changed to Singapore. Okay, let me show you. Right. Okay, so location is changed to Singapore, and I will actually input the test analysis in here. enter, right? And I'll click on the test analysis. Right. I'll just click on here, and it will come up. So this scenario pass. Okay. So likewise for the third scenario, the third scenario is that, alright, I'll enter the software engineer page, and then there should be jobs. I'll enter this, alright, special character, of course, which I showed it to you just now. You actually fear it's not clear, the filter fear is not clear, and I'll input something like software engineer and with a special character, which it will fear. Alright, but we will still automate this so that in future if it fits, this can be clear. Alright, so for the time being, the automation will fear for the test scenario 3. Okay, so as in for Gherkins, it is almost similar to the test scenario 1, 2, and 3. So I split it up into the BDD user scenario 1, 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. So the first scenario is that given I want to launch a landing page and I check the careers menu, when I click the careers menu, then the landing page is launched and I scroll down to see the job result, right? So it is very similar to test scenario 1, and scenario 2.1 is that given I want to launch the landing page and I click the careers menu and I scroll down to see the job result, when I look for career software engineers, then I check if there are vacancies. So basically if you check that there are more than there are more than 0 vacancies, so there must be at least 1. So for scenario 2.2, it is similar to scenario 2.1. It's given I want to launch a landing page and I click the careers menu and I scroll down, then I change the location to Singapore and I look for the career test analysis and I check if there are any vacancy. Alright, so and I check if the job test analysis exists and click on it, and the job detail page should open in a new tab. So this is where I show you just now, where I select a location and I click test analysis and the new tab open. Okay, for scenario 2.3 is where I actually input the special character, right, and the software and with the valid job with the special character behind. Okay, so it's given I want to go to the landing page, I click the careers menu and I scroll down to see the job result. When I look for the career, the special character in here, and then I check the input is this, the input field, which is this, right? It should be empty. If I click on this and I press enter, it should be clear according to the user acceptance criteria, right? And when I look for the career software engineer with the special character, then I check if the number of vacancy is the same as the software engineer. So this one should also be ignored. Alright, so for this test scenario, it actually fail, similar to test scenario 3. So this BDD scenario 2.3 is similar to test scenario 3. So I'd like to talk first about the file structure. Okay, so the test scenario which we have in here, test scenario 1, 2, 3, the file is actually in this package, SG Digital Test. Right, it's under the basic in here. So you can see that this is almost the same as the documentation in here. Right, follow a sequence, it's almost the same. Right, so the same go for the second scenario, where I test the location, which is also in here. Right, so you check the landing page, go to career, and then change the locations, and it will check whether there are more than 0 vacancy, and look for the tables for test analysis, and check whether the page exists or not. So for the third one is where I actually validate the user's input, which is in here. Alright, the user input. So this is what I will do, that I go to the career page and then I will input some characters in here, and I also input some special character behind. So this test will actually fail. Okay, so for the test scenario, you can actually run by the test ng, which is in here, test scenario 1, 2, 3. You can actually call out in here the test ng suite. Right. So similarly for the BDD, this is the main features, right? The user acceptance features. It's exactly the same as the document. So this is the scenario 1, which I actually want to see whether the career is at the menu and whether the page launches or not. Right. So scenario 2.1, I want to check whether the page actually, the result actually refresh in the career page, the vacancy, and whether I can input, for example, things like software engineers, and whether the result there will be vacancies shows up after that. So scenario 2.2 is equivalent to the location testing. So in this round, I also go through the career page and I change the location to the country, and I look for test analysis, and I check for vacancy, and I will actually check the test analysis job exists, and if it exists, I'll click on it. And then I will check the job detail page whether it's open in the new browser tab. Alright. So for 2.3 itself, it is the same as the test scenario 3, this scenario 3. Alright. So I will actually go to the careers page, and then I'll key in some special character, and then I'll validate this field whether it's empty or not. It should actually clear. That's a user acceptance criteria. And I'll add a special character after a valid job and compare whether the vacancy are the same or not with a valid job itself. So in here, in test scenario 2.3, it should fail, right? So this is actually running in very same in parallels, the BDD which is written in Cucumber, as the test scenario 1, 2, and 3, which is this, right? 1, 2, and 3, right? So basically, test scenario, uh, the test scenario in here, and the BDD in here will call the page objects. So basically, they'll call the page objects in here. So they share a common class modules, and of course the stack definition, which the BDD actually calls, will also call the page objects. So in the page objects, I basically define as an extension to the POM manager, which is in here, and the POM manager will handle the pages. So let us call, for example, the this test scenario 1, which is this test POM basic Java. Alright. So let me try npm test. So you see the automation comes out. You check whether the career page is valid. and it actually passed, right? So you can actually try on test scenario 1, 2, and 3, and you'll test on different scenario in here, which is here, right? So for the cucumber in here, you can actually run on this cucumber 1, which is the cucumber scenario 1. Alright, so the cucumber scenario 1 will run on this first run user scenario 1, the same as all this with respective to this. So let me try 2-1, which is here, and you run this, the runner in here, right? So basically it means that you run this scenario 2-1. So yes, it passed. So if you want to run all the tests, all the cucumber tests, it is this, right? And then you just click enter, but one of the tests will actually fail. Remember the test, this test will actually fail. The scenario 2-3 will actually fail because of the special character. Yeah, it does not work. So say go through the second scenario. This is the 2-1 scenario. So the first one actually passed. You can see it actually passed for the first one. Right. So now I open job detail page and it closed and it passed the scenario 2-2. Right. Now it's going through on the cucumber scenario 2-3. That should actually fail. It's taken quite a while. Maybe the site is down. Let me stop this. Right. Let me test 2-3 itself. Okay. So yes, you notice that there's an error. Right. There's an assertion error. Right. So it said that I input a special character. I expect it to be clear, but it's not clear. So that actually failed, which is okay. So if you want to find out more, you can actually go and get the README doc, which is in here. They have all the profiles that is in here, the Marvin's profiles, and you can actually do it. Of course, the red one is highlighted is defects. Okay. and I hope you enjoy this video session. Please let me know how you feel about it, and do feel free to contact me. Thank you. Ivan out.